What's going on? Do you need help?
Thanks for stopping here. My husband Mikush hasn't returned from Bilani. Me and Vundulою are awfully worried about him.
Wait, I need to know a bit more. What's your name?
Svitava,
I'm Henry. And Vundulою would be...
our only daughter.
And your lost husband is... Mikush?
Aye. Since we've been living in this hut, he's been going to work to Bilani.
When did you last see him?
He left a few days ago. He's never been away this long.
What job did he do in Bilani?
He's a damned good tailor. But besides that, he does odd jobs around the village. He always brings whatever he earns here. Mostly food. The little we manage to grow here isn't enough.
Why don't you look for him yourself? Bilani isn't that far.
I can't. I've injured my ankle. I can't walk that far.
What happened?
I twisted it when we were running away from the soldiers through the forest. It's better now, but it still hurts. It would take me half a day to limp to Bilani.
So why don't you send your daughter?
By herself? Are you mad? She's young, inexperienced. Something might happen to her.
Did your Mikush have any enemies you know of?
Enemies? No. He's a nice man. He never hurt a soul. Maybe he's a bit too nice. He trusts everyone. I'm worried someone might have tricked him into something.
What do you mean?
He thinks people are good deep down. I don't think that. People can be right bastards. That's why I'm so worried about him.
Do you want me to find him?
You do that for me?
Yes. Don't worry. I'll find him. Where do you think I should start? In Bilani?
Aye. Ask about him in the tavern. He wears a fine embroidered hat. Everyone will remember him.
Why are you here? In the forest?
We had a big house in Межолезах. But then Sigismund's mercenaries decided to burn the village to the ground. Mikush, Vundulою and me all escaped at the last moment. The others weren't so lucky. It was hell on earth. You can't imagine the terror.
I'm from Scallis. I reckon I can.
You can? I don't know. In any case, we ended up here. At least we had some roof over our heads. But now, I don't even know what'll happen next.
Why did the soldiers attack your village?
Why? Good Lord, such a question. They didn't ask us anything. The worst thing is, the village paid some mercenaries for protection. But they took off the moment they saw horses kicking up dust on the horizon. I'm glad old Svitavou, my father, didn't live to see it. His heart would have burst.
How are you getting along here?
Now, quite miserably. I hope you find my Mikush soon. We won't be able to go on without him.
I'll try and look for him.
Oh, bless you, kind soul. And good luck.
What do you want now, you...
I'm looking for one fella. He's named Mikush.
Mikush? Doesn't ring a bell.
They say he wears a fancy hat.
Ah, the Hatter, of course. He's not from around here. He started showing up a few months ago. Just for a few days at a time. Sometimes he'd sleep here.
I hear he made his living as a tailor in the village.
I don't know anything about that. He never offered me his services. He seemed to me like an ordinary, decent guest. He drank a few beers, played dice.
He played dice? With who?
I don't get a moment's rest around here, my good man. I don't have time to check who the guests are talking to, but he must have played with Черніка. He's our champ. I'm sure he'll tell you more.
What is it, you blighter?
I'm looking for someone. His name's Mikush.
Mikush? Never heard of him.
I've been told he wears a...
Fancy hat?
Exactly.
I've seen him around here. But I don't see why I should talk to a stranger about another stranger.
The innkeeper told me that you definitely played with Mikush.
Aye, I do like a good game of dice. But I'm not telling you anything else about him.
Why's that?
Because I don't know you. Like me ma always said, never talk to strangers. Come on, let's roll some dice instead.
Listen, Mikush's family is looking for him. His wife and daughter. They're worried about him. They're refugees from Межолезах, living in a hut in the woods. They've lost everything, now even their provider. Can you live with that on your conscience?
Look, I wouldn't wish ill on anyone. And all right, I do know a bit about him.
Tell me then.
I've known Mikush since the first moment he showed up here to play. Unsurprisingly. The bloke looked like he couldn't count to 5. I thought I'd found an easy mark. But man, was I wrong. He's a great player. And that kind of praise means something coming from me. He knows when to bet everything on the final roll.
So he won a lot?
Aye, for a while. Until his luck ran out. Then he started borrowing. One time he got so desperate, and maybe had a few too many beers, he started going on about his buried fortune in Межолезах, saying he'd surely pay back anyone who lent him money. Ha!
Did anyone lend him anything?
Aye, and Mikush won everything back.
And did he pay back the money he borrowed?
Of course, every last groschen. He was laughing the whole time, too.
What about that buried fortune of his? Did he ever mention it again?
The next day, he claimed he made it all up, saying he just had too much to drink. Only nobody believed him.
Did anyone seem particularly interested in his fortune? Someone who'd want it for himself and would go after Mikush because of it?
Everyone was interested in it, but Mikush never talked about it again. Besides, that village is burned to the ground and full of rabble. Межолезах is an awful mess. That rhymes!
When did you last see Mikush?
A few days ago. He was playing against that hired hand, Drat. Drat lost and didn't have enough money. They left together, and Mikush hasn't shown up since. That's pretty suspicious now that I think about it. That Drat bloke's an odd duck.
What do you mean, odd?
I've heard he's been dealing with some bandits. You'd better have a word with him. But be careful.
Where can I find this Drat?
Somewhere in the village. I reckon he'll be at the farm he works at. Well, technically, because he's a big fella and looks strong, they made him into something like the village catchpole. But to tell you the truth, he's less a catchpole and more just a regular farmhand pretending to be a catchpole.
Where can I find this Drat?
I already told you. At the farm.
I'll go have a talk with...
Don't mention it. And if you ever... Farewell, sir.
Don't shove.
You're Drat.
Aye, that's me.
Can I ask you something?
Ask away. But do it fast, I don't have all day.
Do you know a fella by the name of Mikush?
I don't know any Mikesh.
Nah, knock it off. I hear you left the tavern together. And no one has seen Mikush since.
Oh yeah, that fella. We were heading in the same direction, but then went separate ways. That's all I know.
You certainly know something about Mikush's disappearance, and you should talk.
Should I? Why's that?
It's got to do with your well-being. If you don't talk, I'll beat you worse than a dog.
All right, fine. Just calm down. It's not my fault. It was Hanka.
Who's this Hanka woman?
Hanka's not a woman, but a man. We've known each other for years. He was a hired hand in Межолезах. Certainly know what happened there. Horror. Not long ago, he came to see me. Said he was the only survivor from the entire village, but I know that wasn't true.
Because you met Mikush.
I thought he'd be quite happy that someone else got away, but he was actually quite upset about it.
So he wasn't happy?
Well, happy, not happy. Hard to say what was going through his head. Seemed to me like it was rubbing him up the wrong way. That Mikush, of all people, survived.
Interesting. Did he tell you anything else?
I didn't ask him any more questions.
So, someone comes to see you, acts all odd, and you don't ask any questions? I don't believe you. You must have had a normal conversation, seeing as you're old friends. And he had to have told you something.
Well, I understood he quarrelled with Mikush and his family about some money, a family inheritance. Nothing unique there. It happens in every family, so I didn't pry any deeper. Then he said he'd like to talk to Mikush and whether I could set up a meeting.
Well, thanks to you, he knew Mikush frequents the tavern. So why didn't he go and find him? To talk with him?
I don't know.
Damn it! Come clean. You must have asked him the very same question. So you know the real reason. Admit it.
Hanker told me he'd joined up with some bandits, so he didn't want to show his face in the taverns. It wasn't so long ago they robbed a merchant here. I reckon he was afraid someone might recognise him.
So he wanted to rob Mikush?
I really have no idea. Hanker didn't tell me. I just wanted to help out an old friend. I didn't know what he was up to. What the hell do I care about some strange fellow with a funny hat, damn it? Hanker told me to take Mikush outside the village and then he'd meet him there. But he said Mikush couldn't know about him, and he left figuring out how to do that up to me. So I played dice with Mikush. He's damn good, so I had no problem losing a few games. In no time at all, I owed him quite a few groschen. I told him I could pay my debt immediately, but he'd have to come with me to my hiding place. He didn't blink an eye. He's damn trusting, given how things are today. I took him a little way outside the village, told him I was going to take a piss, and then took off. And that's all. I don't know anything else.
Where did you take him? I want the exact location.
Here, just outside the village, on the way towards Miscelas.
Are you trying to lie again, Drat? If he wanted to settle a family dispute with Mikush, he wouldn't have lured him outside the village for a chat. Unless you want to piss me off, you'll tell me the truth. Now.
All right, fine. It was a bit further away from the village. Actually, it was quite far.
Where were you supposed to take Mikush?
A crossroads by the forest, on the way to Miscelas. Actually, almost right by Miscelas. A little beyond the woodsman's camp. Just go straight. Two roads intersect there. It's the only proper crossroads on the way.
What happened at the crossroads? I want the truth.
Well, as I was saying, I took Mikush there and told him I needed to take a piss. Then Hanker jumped out of the woods with some bandits. They grabbed him. He began to scream, but there was no one around to hear him.
And what did you do?
I didn't wait to find out what would happen. I ran.
What did Hanker promise you for bringing Mikush to him?
Nothing. I did it out of friendship.
Are you trying to lie again?
All right. He said he'd give me part of the buried inheritance.
So Hanker wanted to get his hands on that inheritance the whole time?
I reckon so.
He felt the family owed it to him, but I don't understand why.
Family. Skeletons in the closet. You never know.
How long have you known Hanker? Since you're such good friends.
We go back a long way. As youngsters, we'd beat the shit out of each other in the Miscelas tavern. As it often goes, we ended up becoming friends over a beer, you know. But I haven't seen him since I've been working as a catchpole. Not until now, that is.
Well, if you were such good friends, you must know more than you're telling me.
Maybe. But it's not important.
Every detail is important.
So listen up. Hanker always had one big problem. No woman would have him. He's always said it's because he's not rich. But he's just a hired hand. As if a hired hand can't shag. The stories I could tell.
Get to the point.
Last year, his cousin danced with him at a feast. He was like a new man. He wouldn't stop talking about her. Wundulla this, Wundulla that, as if he was in love with her. And then, all of a sudden, nothing. He never mentioned her again.
Where might Hanka be now?
I only know what he told me. That he ran off into the forest. And that's where he joined up with those bandits. He bragged about how they made him their captain.
I'm not wasting any more time with you. God only knows what Hanka's done to Mikush, and you're responsible for it. Be ashamed. You sold out an innocent man for a handful of groschen. Sickening.
I'm truly sorry.
But being sorry won't help. You're a snake in the grass. You deserve punishment.
Please, don't tell anyone. No one can find out.
I could keep my mouth closed, but it's going to cost you something.
Here, take this. It's all I have. And don't tell a soul, please.
Nice, lad. Farewell, Drat. Whoa. Blood. And quite a lot of it, too. Looks like they dragged that poor wretch further. I have to find out where.
I don't like this. He's getting worse.
He's delirious with a fever.
It must hurt.
You'd be in pain too. That Hanka is a real bastard.
If he doesn't... Die! Alert! Alert!
I yield. Mercy.
My God! By that tree, is that Mikush? What have you done to that poor man?
I...
You hear me? What did you do?
Nothing. It was Anka.
What did he do to him? Talk.
He stabbed him, and then he shoved a red-hot knife in the wound.
Good God.
He wanted him to tell the truth. He's out of his mind.
What did he want from him?
Well, he wanted to find out where he buried that inheritance, but he kept saying he doesn't know.
Oh, Christ almighty.
The tailor swore he didn't know anything, but his wife did. She's the one who buried it.
What happened next?
He wouldn't stop burning him until Mikush told him where his wife was hiding. Anka took off with the men to their hut. He left us here to guard him and told us if he dies, he'll sort us out. Only the tailor's getting worse. He's all burned, delirious. He's dying. We don't know what to do with him.
Why? Why did he torture him so cruelly?
I don't know. He just kept saying, that was our money. That was our money too. He called Mikush uncle a few times. I don't know why.
I don't reckon he's actually his uncle. He wouldn't do that to him, right? He wouldn't torture his own uncle like that, would he? Unless... Jesus.
This keeps getting better and better. What's the story with this Hanka fella?
It used to be an hired hand in Messeles. That's the village that the soldiers of that other king burned to the ground.
Yeah, so I've heard. And he just decided to join up with you?
Of course not. He had to beat our captain, Loiza.
And did he?
He killed him with his bare hands.
You won't get away with this. You deserve to die.
God have mercy! No!
Christ. He's on his last legs. Let's have a look then. The burns look ugly, but something tells me they aren't the main problem. The stab wounds are worse. They're red at the edges and are hot to the touch. I think this wound is infected. We ought to do something about it. At the very least, clean and bandage it. Maybe a potion would help him. Something healing. That works fast. The better... Maybe some herbs would help him. If I place them on his wounds and dress them... I've seen enough. I think I know how to... I hope I can act... What are we gonna do with you? I should clean... This'll stay... Ah! The wound is clean. I ought to put herb... But I won't do that now. I'll give you a... This one should do the trick. Drink up. I should band it. I'll just wrap it tight. There we are. I'll pray for you. How does it go again? All praise and glory is your restoring. Amen. That's all. I'm sure he'll pull through. Mikush?
Who are you?
Henry. But that's not important now. I know why Hanka tortured you. Did you tell him anything?
My God. I told Hanka that the only person who knows where our inheritance is buried is Swatava. And then he burned me. So much pain. I told him where he could find her. My God. He took his men and headed out for her. To the hut. You have to save them. Hurry. I'll follow you. Don't wait for me. Their lives are in danger.
I'll go immediately.
Take another step, and I'll slit her throat.
Don't do it. Do you hear me? You'll be sorry.
Someone else is going to be sorry here.
For God's sake, talk to me.
Why are you sticking your nose into this?
Coward! Leave the woman alone and come fight with a real man.
I'll kill you. All right, Vendela. Go. Get out of my... I'll rip your guts out.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
You want to try me?
mercy! Fuck this! I'm not getting myself killed!
You both all right?
My sweet Vendula, did he hurt you?
I'm all right, Ma.
Thank God. Thanks for the rescue, Henry. And what about my husband? Did you find him?
I did. Hanker was keeping him in his camp. He was nearly a goner, but I managed to treat his wounds.
His wounds? My God. What did those bastards do to him?
Well, they didn't treat him nicely, that's for sure. But he'll tell you himself. He's on his way back now.
Hunker, that bastard. I hope he'll pay for all his crimes.
He's paid for his crimes. He won't hurt anyone ever again.
Some weeds just have to be pulled out before it's too late, as Ma used to say.
Hanker didn't end up killing anyone.
Oh, stop talking nonsense. Every criminal deserves a just punishment. And I thought seeing my own home burned to the ground was the worst thing.
We've gone through a lot, Ma. So much suffering. We have to leave this place. Get as far away as possible, as soon as possible.
Wait. Did you hear something?
I don't hear anything.
There! Again! Someone's outside. Jesus. It's those bandits. There must have been more of them.
Ma, take it easy. I don't hear anything.
Henry, go and have a look.
It's not the bandits. Look who's come home.
Mikush!
Pa!
You made it here quickly.
I came as fast as I could. I nearly gave up the ghost. I was so worried about the two of you.
I'm so glad you survived. That horrible hunker tried to kill us.
I know. All because of the inheritance. He went absolutely mad.
If it weren't for Henry, he'd have killed Vendula. And then me.
That lunatic. Who would have guessed that about him? He used to be a good lad.
Well, that good lad is gone for good. Henry sent him straight to hell.
Well, I suppose it's for the best. I'm awfully knackered. I need to lie down for a bit. Will you help me?
Of course, Pa. Come and rest inside.
I reckon you're hungry too. Vendula, give him some gruel. It should still be warm.
All right. Come on, Pa. Carefully.
And the two of us should have a word.
What did you want to talk about?
I wanted to thank you for everything. You saved our entire family.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
As you might have figured out, everything that happened was all because of our inheritance, which I hid from the soldiers in Messeles. I understand you've done everything you can for us, but I wanted to ask if you could go and get it for us. You're a strong, capable man, and you don't scare easy, and it'll be worth your efforts. Trust me.
All right, I'll look for it. But you'll have to tell me where I'll find it.
Listen, I'll tell you everything. My memory's not as good as it once was. Our house is the third one on the right when you follow the main road towards Visoka. Anyone entering the village goes by our house. Must have been about 2 days before the tragedy. The neighbor boy ran over and started yelling about how something was coming, that he'd heard it from the patrol on the road. No one believed him, not even his pa. After all, why would soldiers attack a monastery village, one far from their camp? It didn't make any sense. That night, though, I had a strange dream. I tried to put out a fire, but the more water I poured on it, the bigger the flames got. So, I decided to hide all our valuables. Only I couldn't do it during the day. I was worried someone would see me. I put all of it in a chest, loaded it onto a handcart, and waited till nightfall.
Continue.
When night fell, I snuck out the back of our house with the handcart, making my way through the hole in the fence next to the compost heap. Mikush was supposed to fix that hole a long time ago, but as good as he is with a needle and thread, well, when it comes to other work, you can forget about it. At least it made things easier for me. First, I headed right. Then I turned left, up the path, around the neighbor's barn. It's outside his fence. I had to stop there, because the neighbor's little brat was still awake and wandering around. Fortunately, he didn't see me. So I kept going past a low wall where two paths cross. There, I went left. Once I was safely out of the village, a dog started barking at me, so I had to pick up the pace. Instead of turning right down the path, I went straight into the field there. That handcart was damned heavy, and it was rough going off the path. I crossed the field, making it to the wood, but the wheel got stuck there. I couldn't go any further, and it was pitch black. I lit a lantern and dug a pit to fit that chest. Took me forever. When I was done, I could barely walk straight. The sun was coming up. I left the handcart and shovel there and went back the way I came. I hope those directions are good enough for you to find it.
Why did you do all that work yourself? Why didn't your husband help?
The fewer people know about it, the better. I didn't want to leave anything to chance.
That's all I need. I'll go and find your inheritance. What's the story with your inheritance?
My father, old man Svatosh, was quite wealthy, at least compared to the rest of the village. You see, he worked all fields and farms around here. He had 9 children, but only me and my younger sister Ludmilla made it into adulthood. And then, when he died, he left everything to me. He wanted to be sure, because with Ludmilla, he was worried she'd blow through all of it.
Why did your father disinherit Ludmilla?
She was quite flighty. She liked to have a good time, if you know what I mean. She was never with... Then, she brought this hired hand home. Fanosh was his name. She had to marry him. Svatosh threw her out of the house without a second thought. Heartlessly. And he never mentioned her again.
Why didn't you... She was your sister.
We were never very close. She was mad. Sometimes something came over her, like she was possessed. And it got worse and worse. It seems Hunka has inherited it from her. Those aren't the kind of...
Why didn't you help Hanker at least? You seem pretty bitter about it.
He was a common swindler, and he was delusional, just like his lunatic mother.
How did Svatosh become so wealthy?
He was a good farmer. When he was young, he worked on a big farm somewhere near Kolin and worked his way up from the bottom to become the custodian. But it's no coincidence he ended up in Межолезах. He was close with the old custodian of the Sedlets monastery. They were friends. Sometimes you've just got to meet good fortune halfway.
What did he do with such a large inheritance?
What do you think? I took care of it the way Pa wanted, so our Groshen didn't just roll away from us. So our Vendula would have a good life, a good dowry, and a good husband. At least someone as good as my Mikush.
I'd like to know more about... You know, I've been through something similar. Sigismund's army burned down my hometown. Skalitz.
My lord! Thank God you managed to save yourself.
Unfortunately, very few of us were so lucky. My ma and pa stayed behind.
I'm so sorry to hear that. What would you like to know, Henry?
I know reliving it isn't easy, but I'd be interested to know how the attack unfolded.
Like I said, We were prepared for it, unlike the others. The soldiers came from the main road. First the horsemen. They cut down anyone who stood in their way. Then came the first flaming arrows, and the roost began to burn. The horsemen then stormed the farm, and that's all I saw. May God save the souls of those innocent people.
You said you were prepared. So someone warned you?
I already told you, Henry, a few days earlier, and then I had the strange dream.
Did you know where you'd flee to?
Aye, I did. I remember this old hut by Billanah. A long time ago, the Lord's huntsman and his family lived there. When the forest fell under the ownership of the monastery, he had to move out. It was empty for years. And now...
What was Mesteless like before all this? Was it a big village?
I wouldn't call it big. Maybe back in my father's day, but not in recent years. As more and more silver started coming out of the mines, people moved to work in Kuttenberg. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nobody left to work in the fields soon. But what can you do? That's a question for the custodian. And there's no reason to ask now anyway.
Was there anything...
What do you mean?
Well, something worth looking for, I mean. Something that's...
They didn't attack us for our buried inheritance, that's for sure. They came for... Though, on second thought, I heard something about a mysterious cave that's supposedly beneath Межолезах. But I reckon that's just an old wives' tale.
What are you gonna do now?
I hope that inheritance brings... I hope our suffering ends soon, and we'll see better days.
This is where Mikush's family lived. It's a pretty big house for 3 people. I reckon they had a lot to be jealous of. I wonder what happened to the neighbour's boy. Oh, that stench of fire. No. I don't want to be reminded of that day. This is where Svitava took the handcart onto the meadow. The inheritance can't be far. I was in Mesteless and followed your instructions.
And? Did you find it?
The chest was buried by the forest, exactly where you said. Next to the handcart.
My God! Thank you for everything. Vendula, Mikush, Henry has returned, and he found our inheritance.
Finally! Some good news.
Don't keep us waiting, Henry. Let's see what you have for us.
Here's everything I found.
Fabric, groschen, And our ancestor? Nothing's missing.
This fabric's as good as new. Think of all the money this will make.
Finally, fortune smiled upon us.
It surely has. I told you that once our ancestor comes back to us, everything will be like it once was. Thank you, Henry. Here's something for your efforts. If you ever feel like learning something new, Mikush here would be glad to teach you.
So he teach me to play dice, eh?
You can't learn dice. You have to have it in your blood.
That's not what I meant. He's a tailor by trade, so he can show you how to mend your clothes.
I reckon I could. Stop by, Henry. I'll find time for you.